everyone, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show we're going to be breaking down all of the day's movie news and going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. And for this week, because I haven't had an episode up in about a week, I wanted to do a top 5 news stories of the past week. So this is not encompassing all the movie news. I will have another episode up either on the weekend or just on Monday's episode, which will be going over the remaining information that did come out. But I wanted to get the 5 top movie news stories that came out over the past week. So let's get started with that. The first story that we have to start with is actually Rian Johnson, the director of movies such as Looper with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt that came out a few years ago, or the fantastic movie Brick that came out in the mid-2000s. He has actually been handpicked by Lucasfilm to direct Star Wars Episode 8. He's actually not only going to be writing and directing Episode 8, but he's also going to be writing Episode 9. A lot of speculation has come out as to why they're going this route, and there's almost 2 sides to this coin. The first side that a lot of people are assuming is that the quote-unquote chaos that's happening with the Episode 7 set. So something that was outside of his control, but Harrison Ford being injured, which I'll touch on in a minute, the script revisions, the needing to push the release date back. They had to push it to the very last point that they could in 2015. J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy both want a 2016 release date. They actually want the same day that Batman vs. Superman and Captain America 3 are releasing. They want that date. But Bob Iger, the director, or the head of Disney, is saying, no, we're staying in 2015, and that's that. A lot of people are assuming that Rian Johnson was brought in because of that, because they feel that J.J. Abrams has not been able to fulfill what he originally wanted. They feel that he needs more time, and they don't have that luxury with their plan that they want to do with releasing a Star Wars film every year. Essentially, once Episode 7 comes out, it'll be 2 years to the day, pretty much, that Episode 8 will be out. And they feel, based on what they've experienced already with J.J. Abrams, that he would not be able to finish the film in that time. The other side of the coin, and this is the one that I feel is a lot more logical, is someone like Rian Johnson coming in and his filmography and the type of films that he's done is very reminiscent as to what they did with the original trilogy. Now, the original trilogy, George Lucas, if you haven't seen the behind-the-scenes making of the original Star Wars trilogy, you should. It's amazing how many problems they had bringing these films to life. And I don't just mean they don't know how to do something. It's all the people getting in the way, all the red tape that they had to go through, everything. It's mind-boggling how difficult these films were to get made and how successful and culturally relevant they ended up being. But when you look at A New Hope, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, directed by George Lucas. Star Wars Episode 5 was directed by Irvin Kershner, written by Lawrence Kasdan. And then you have Return of the Jedi, which was, again, written, or I think Kasdan wrote the treatment for it, and then it was directed by, the puppet. The George Lucas essentially directed the third one, Christopher Marquand. And that was mainly due to the Directors Guild, and if you watch the documentary, it goes into all that stuff. So, but looking at what Empire became, because George Lucas has actually gone on record and state that he doesn't really like Empire Strikes Back, which is funny because that's, to everybody, that is the absolute best Star Wars movie that has come out. A close second would be almost a juggling match between Return of the Jedi and A New Hope. It's never ever part of the original or the prequel trilogy, but showcasing this, Lucasfilm is actually getting a lot of very talented young and upcoming directors to spearhead these movies. Like we have J.J. Abrams, who's not necessarily, I mean, I don't know if you could really call him up and coming anymore. I think he is established. But then you got Rian Johnson, you've got Gareth Edwards, you've got Josh Trank. All of these guys are up-and-coming, big visionary directors. Excuse me. They have unique viewpoints on how their films are, and their films are visually distinct. You cannot say that someone like, if they were to say Adam McKay, and I don't mean because of the comedy, I mean someone like Adam McKay was to come in and direct a Star Wars movie, I think that would just be terrible because A, he does not have his own visual style. Out of all the people who were rumored to be involved with Ant-Man and taking over for Edgar Wright, I think that he had the most distinct visual style out of all of them, but none of them really had their own style, so it was very difficult to pinpoint that. When you look at Gareth Edwards has a very dark, ominous tone to his movies and a very brooding anticipation in his films. When you look at someone like Ryan Johnson is completely adept at creating futuristic landscapes and worlds like that where you can almost reach out and touch it. It's so real and relevant, yet it's futuristic. It's not what we already have. And on top of that, he's able to create very mixed storylines and very rich text and very rich information. And then you look at someone like Josh Trank, who was able to take the superhero genre and turn it on its head using found footage. And now he's headlining Fantastic Four. Now, reports from what we've heard about that film is that that film is going to have a very chronicle feel to it. Now, I don't know if that means that they're actually going found footage, and I don't think that they are, because that would just be stupid. You don't do that with a high production value superhero film. You do not do that. Now, you can make you can give it kind of the Saving Private Ryan feel, or the Paul Greengrass feel, like the Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Legacy, or Bourne Ultimatum films, where it was very handheld, very documentary style. Excuse me. And so I think that could be where they could go with it in terms of that. But I mean, you have all these guys, and they're very, very different in their viewpoints. And I honestly think that J.J. Abrams is actually going to be the godfather of this franchise, and he is going to be overseeing. He knows what they want to do, and I think that's the route that they're going to go. Until we hear otherwise from Lucasfilm that J.J. Abrams is not going to be involved in any of the other films, that's my assumption. He's been brought on to Godfather. He wanted to direct the first one. I don't know if he wanted to do them all. I'm pretty sure that J.J. Abrams would not have wanted to do them. He wants to do one and then oversee the rest of them and allow all these other guys to come up. I think that's the initial plan. But touching back onto something that we talked about a week and a half ago with Harrison Ford, and it was originally reported that he broke his ankle and that he was going to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then it was reported that he broke his leg, actually, and it wasn't his ankle, and that he was going to be out for up to 6 months. Well, there was a photograph that was released online. I think it was the Daily Mail from the UK, that showcased Harrison Ford being wheelchaired out of the hospital after his surgery. And from what you could see on the bandage, it looks as though it's only his ankle. Like, he's already out of surgery. He's going back to the U.S. to do rehab for probably about 4 to 6 weeks. They said 6 to 8, but he's probably going to push it and be back in 4 to 6. A lot of people have said that this is going to hamper the production of Star Wars Episode 7, and I don't believe that it will, only because there's a lot of stuff that they can film. They can use a lot of body doubles for that kind of stuff, especially now that we pretty much know that it's just the ankle. He can do a lot of his Millennium Falcon scenes, because he's just sitting there. He's just sitting in the captain's chair. Unless he's doing a lot of running around, which I doubt that he would. I mean, Harrison Ford's 71 years old, so I don't know if they're going to be going that route. But it looks as though it's not as bad as we originally thought. And the rumors of Oscar Isaac's character being his role being increased to take over for that, because a lot of people have assumed that he's playing the kind of the Han Solo type character in the new trilogy. I don't believe that that's true at all, because it wouldn't make sense for them to do that. If their original intent was to have Han Solo be the main character, or the largest amount of screen time character that they have in this film, I don't see them doing that to another character. They're just going to move around whatever they can, shoot whatever they can, and then when Harrison Ford comes back, they're going to start filming again. So that's all we know about Star Wars, but I figured I'd let you guys know about Episode 8, Episode 9, what their plans are, because again, it's a very Empire feel. Rian Johnson has a very dark tone. He has a very layered mythology and almost like underground sort of way of writing. Like the types of characters that he writes, it's all very below the radar, and I feel that his film, Episode 8, is going to be an Empire Strikes Back type film, where it's much darker, carrying on the original story created in Episode 7 and leading into the final Episode 9, at least in this trilogy. They're probably going to continue going on. But that's what we know about this so far, and if you guys have any sort of comments or topics you want to talk about this, put a comment in the comment section, or you can even email us at movienewswithniklsun@gmail.com, and we can discuss it. Even go on our Facebook page, and you can start a discussion on there. Okay, so the next topic that we have to talk about today is Guillermo del Toro surprised a lot of people yesterday with announcing that he is moving full steam ahead with Pacific Rim 2. And Pacific Rim 2, coming from Universal and Legendary, will be released on April 7th, 2017. So we have about almost 3 years away, so about 2.5 years. Um, I am super ecstatic about this. I mean, Pacific Rim is the type of movie that came out. It was kind of like what Transformers should have been. It was just very, very fun, very self-aware. They completely knew what type of movie they were making. It wasn't too long, which I'll get into in my review of Transformers 4. But I mean, we have Travis Beacham, who co-wrote the script with Guillermo del Toro on the first one. It's coming back to write the second one, along with Zach Penn. Um, I'm assuming that Travis Beacham, because he's currently tied up with another project, I'm assuming he's going to do just basically an overlay, and then Zach Penn and Del Toro are going to be the ones who actually flesh out the script. But this is very exciting because he also said that, Raleigh, Miko, Hannibal Chow, like, so that's Charlie Hunnam, Rinko Kikuchi, we have Charlie Day, Max Martini, Ron Perlman. They're all expected to return. I'm super excited about this. I loved Pacific Rim. It was so much fun, and that's what we need from the movies. That's actually what Transformers should strive to be. A movie like that, and they're very close. They are very close. They need to shave off about 20 to 25 minutes in each of their films, but they're very close to being like that. So I'm very excited about Pacific Rim 2. It will be reaching theaters on April 7th, 2017. So when we get more information about this or any sort of ideas about the script or anything like that, I'll definitely update you guys on here. And the next story that we have to talk about today is Paramount, or not Paramount, Nickelodeon has actually, no, it was Paramount as well. They've released a full-length trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And a lot of people have been very hesitant about this property up until, well, even still now. A lot of people said they don't like the designs, they find them overly creepy, and to me it's like, okay, if you take a photograph of a turtle, just a regular turtle, and you were to make them anthropomorphic, you were to make them larger, human size, if not a little bit bigger, make them move around like that, that's what their faces would look like, to an extent. I mean, turtles nowadays have nostrils, like they have noses. They're not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the foam rubber. You know, they're not going to look like that. That was made, it was made in a completely different era. And you cannot replicate that. I mean, there were a couple of images put online about from the first trailer that came out, and they changed the look to be a little bit more in line with the original styles of the Turtles back in the 90s. And to me, it just looked dumb. I did not like it. I am actually kind of liking the new designs. Up until I saw this trailer, I did not like the design of Donatello. I thought that Donatello just looked too stupid. He looked too weird. In this trailer, though, nope. Donatello has won me over. He just looks super cool. He's got his staff, which has buttons so it can extend, and Michelangelo's nunchucks are nunchucks that he can throw, and the chain can expand, and well, not expand, but it can come out so it can go farther. It just looks like so much fun. And Michael Bay is not directing it, so don't worry about that. He is producing the movie. Jonathan Liebsman, the director of Battle Los Angeles and Wrath of the Titans, is directing this movie. Now, say what you will about Wrath of the Titans and Battle Los Angeles, I thought they were very entertaining films because, again, this is a very hot topic, but he didn't write the script. He took what was available to him in the script and made the best possible movie that he could. And a lot of people always blame the director. Now, some of the time the director does not have the ability to say, no, we're not doing this, we're changing this, because the studio will come in and say, no, you're not. We're giving you the money, you're shooting this, because this is what we want. We're going to sell toys off of this. This is going to be in the trailer. This is going to be a unique visual effect. This is a favor that we owe to this visual effects company, whatever the case may be. And I mean, one thing we got from the trailer as well was we finally got an idea of the storyline. So it looks as though it's the basic storyline that we already know from the original Transformers. I keep referencing that movie. I just saw it last night, so that's probably why. But with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the original one, it shows the turtles going after the Foot Clan. The Foot Clan is attacking somewhere, and so they go to fight them. April O'Neil happens to be in the train station where they are fighting them. They get out, you hear them talking, they go up on the rooftop, and then April O'Neil snaps a photo of them. They threaten her, say, like, hey, don't go talk to anybody because we will find you. And then from the original trailer, we know that William Fichtner's character ties in with April O'Neil's father, and they co-created the ooze that spawned the turtles, essentially. And from this trailer, we also know that a couple of the turtles are going to be getting abducted by Shredder. And Shredder, holy God! Originally, I loved the idea of how badass he was going to look. And then this one photo came out about him having like 1,400 blades. He was like a Swiss Army Transformer. And initially, I thought that was too complicated. But then you see it moving, and they come out of his suit. And so he throws down his one arm, and then the blade comes out, and he throws down the other arm, and the blade comes out, and then he throws them both down, and the blades expand. And a lot of people have come out and said that, okay, well, now it looks as though he's having too many blades on him. His name is Shredder. Shredder. He shreds with blades. How can he have too many blades? That's like saying, well, I'm not even going to go into that. But the one thing they do have confirmation of, especially from this trailer, William Fichtner is not playing Shredder. Because you can see in the movie, he's standing there and he looks at this dark figure in the shadows. But if you watch it on a really high contrast or a high brightness video, you can see that it's an Asian gentleman who has all these little scars, like his face is all carved up. And so he goes, "We're giving your suit an upgrade." So he is not playing Shredder. I'm assuming that because even Will Arnett in the character in the trailer says it's four turtles fighting a robot samurai. I'm assuming that they go kind of Iron Man Transformer style, where it's actually a guy inside of an Iron Man type suit, because even in the close-up that you see in the trailer, it looks as though it's a robotic face. But the last thing I'll say about it is that the very nod at the end of the trailer to themselves about saying, like, so they're aliens? No, that would be stupid. They're turtles. Because the original script, when Michael Bay first originally announced the movie, it was going to be that they were going to be aliens from another planet that came to Earth. And I have not seen... Heath Ledger didn't get as bad backlash as being cast as the Joker than this did. This almost ended the Ninja Turtles reboot. They had to postpone the movie because it was supposed to come out last year. So they postponed the movie. And then they rewrote it, or they rewrote parts of it, and then they came back and said, well, no, they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was originally just called Ninja Turtles. They weren't going to be teenagers. They weren't mutated because they were aliens. So yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff was debunked, and then now in the trailer they say, no, that'd be stupid. They're turtles. So I thought that was really great. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to open on August 8th, a week after Guardians of the Galaxy. So we have just about a month and a half left until that opens up. Very excited to see it, especially after this trailer, because a lot of the comments I read online were saying the trailer didn't suck. So this has a lot more going for it than it originally did. I'm actually getting very excited about this film. When we get more information about here, I will definitely update you guys on here. All right, and so the fourth topic we have to talk about today is a rumor that's come out that a lot of the sources online are stating that this is legitimate, and there's a couple of things that are going along with this. First off, whenever a rumor comes out about somebody possibly coming back, and they've rumored this before, no one has ever come out and said anything about it immediately. Like sometimes it's maybe a couple of weeks or a month down the line, we'll hear about it in an interview because they're promoting something else. We'll say, hey, just about this, oh yeah, no, there's no truth to that. But they don't go out of their way to say, no, we're not doing that. Well, a rumor came out from Latino Review. Latino Review has been very spot on. They've had a few missteps in the past, but for the most part, they're very spot on. And El Mayimbe himself is always very, like, he's, with the next rumor, actually, it's with this rumor, he's staking the reputation of his entire website on this rumor. So he's got some pretty reliable sources which state that this is actually going to be happening. It looks as though the reason that Universal has pushed the release date of Bourne 5, or whatever they're going to call it, starring Jeremy Renner as Alex Cross, is because they were waiting for the scheduling of Matt Damon to be open. Because Justin Lin, who was directing the movie, he directed the past 4 Fast and Furious movies, he's directing the new Bourne film, and he has somehow convinced Matt Damon to come back. It could be a new invigorated storyline. It could be his visual style. We don't know. But up until this point, Matt Damon has said that he really doesn't want to come back to this project unless Paul Greengrass directs it. And Paul Greengrass has said that he doesn't want to come back. So we always assumed that he wasn't going to be coming back. Well, Frank Marshall, the producer on the film, like a day and a half after this news came out and said he never, and a lot of people said, oh, Frank Marshall came out and denied that he was in it. No, he did not. If you actually read the quote, what he said was the reason why they pushed it is because he's been talking to Justin a lot, and they haven't got the script finished yet. And because it's a summer movie, they need to start pre-production pretty much right now. And because they don't have a finished script yet, they cannot start it now. So that way, they instead of releasing it in August of next year, in 2015, they're pushing it to July of 2016 to give them more time to work on it. Now, bumping it a year, I mean, you can always film the movie and have it in the can for 6 months and then release it. You can do that. And studios do that every once in a while. Like Dumb and Dumber 2, for instance, is locked. They have that movie done. They've had that movie done for a few weeks now. And it does not come out until November. So, I mean, it does happen. They just find the right times to release them, and then they do that. It doesn't matter when you need to film it, because Bourne is a series which goes all over the world. So needing to worry about if there's going to be snow in an area is not going to harm it, because they can film in a slightly different area that looks like it. Like, most of the action scenes that happen in Transformers Age of Extinction are set in Hong Kong, and they do not happen there. They happen in Detroit, which was dubbing for Hong Kong for a lot of those big action sequences. They did go to Hong Kong and film, but I'll get into that in my review, which we posted up later on today. But a lot of sources are backing up what Latino Review has posted about this. And it's very rare, like I said earlier, it's very rare for a producer or anyone involved in the film to come out and completely shoot down a rumor like a day or two after it was announced. Unless it actually, they're trying to pull a J.J. Abrams and say, no, he's not in it, he's not in it, you guys need to forget that that was even announced. And then a year from now we say, oh, Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon teaming up for Bourne Team Up, or whatever the hell they're going to call it. But that is a very strong rumor. It has a lot of sources behind it. Only Frank Marshall has come out and he just denied the reason for the delay. In the reasoning, though, he did not say that Matt Damon was not coming back. All that was stated was that, nope, the reason for our delay was this. It wasn't for that. So maybe Matt Damon is coming back because he did not alert to that. But it is still classified as a rumor, but there are a lot of people backing this rumor with a lot of credible sources. So it's looking more and more likely that it could be legitimate. But if we get more information about this, I'll definitely update you guys on here. Bourne 5 is scheduled to release on July 15th, 2016. And the final topic that we have to talk about today is another one from Latino Review. This one I was really excited about when I read this, because I was curious about this and I talked about it on another episode. But it's looking as though with DC, they will be releasing The Batman in 2019. The rumored title for it is The Batman. It's going to be Ben Affleck's first standalone Batman film. Heavily rumored to direct it as well. Now, a lot of people have come out and said, well, 2019, that's very far away. Like, why wouldn't they release it earlier? And if you look at a couple of things, if you look at the rumored timeline that they have, and you also look at Ben Affleck's time frame. So the rumored timeline is this. Excuse me. Batman vs. Superman, May 2016. Shazam, July 2016. Sandman, December 2016. Justice League, May 2017. Wonder Woman, July 2017. Flash Green Lantern team-up film, December 2017. Man of Steel 2, May 2018. The Batman, 2019. Now, first off, DC has pretty much mined Batman for the past 25 years. A lot of people, they could even be assuming that a lot of people have fatigue, Batman fatigue, especially coming off the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Distancing themselves away from that outside of Batman vs. Superman, which is rumored to be a very Batman-centric film, and then Justice League, which is also going to be a very Batman-centric film. Batman and Superman are going to be the main characters in that film. I don't feel that it's going to be an ensemble. But he will already have a lot of establishment in those two movies, and that'll be 2016 and 2017. Then we only have to wait 2 years for The Batman, which is a less wait. We're going to get 3 Batman films in the span of time it took us to get Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. We're going to get 3 Batman films in that span of time. if this is to be believed. But Batman vs. Superman and Justice League are rumored to be shooting back-to-back, which is almost guaranteed at this point. Which means that Ben Affleck is going to be Batman until probably early 2015, maybe mid-2015. Then he is going to shoot the movie that he has been delaying because of this DC lineup that he has, which is a period gangster film called Live by Night. That's his next directorial effort, and it's he's going to be prepping that in 2015. It's going to be released in October of 2016, and he's directing it. So not only with that, he's going to have to do press rounds. There's going to be award season contention with that because, I mean, all of his movies have come out around that time. So he's going to be having to deal with that, which means it'll be early 2017 at the earliest. So March or April that he will be able to get started on the Batman. Writing it, or at least overseeing the treatment with another writer, and then doing pre-production, getting all that stuff finished, and then filming it, post-production, and then releasing it. That means very likely that if they start prepping it in 2017 and they start filming it, say, by the end of 2017, they could probably release it near the end of 2018. But Batman has never been anything other than a summer film. So it doesn't make too much sense for them to not release it in the summer, which means that they're going to push it to 2019, give everyone a little bit of a break, because also in 2018, that's when Avengers 3 is going to be coming out. And so having a Batman film come out against Avengers, they already tried that with the Avengers and The Dark Knight, or The Dark Knight Rises, and the Avengers still won. So I think they're playing a little game of chicken, but it does make sense. A lot of this information does make sense that this is actually going to be the way that it goes. I love the title of The Batman because it's how he's referenced in the comics. It's a title we have not had yet. I personally, I like it. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm intrigued to see him direct it because I feel like we're going to get The Town with Batman and a much bigger budget, like a much larger playroom. But a couple of bits of information actually came out about Batman vs. Superman in regards to Wayne Manor. Wayne Manor will be included in the film, but he's actually not going to be staying there. He's going to be staying on the grounds, but in a kind of like a waterfront cottage of sorts. Now it's a Bruce Wayne cottage, so it's probably bigger than most people's homes. And underneath that is going to be his Batcave, where he's going to have the Batwing, he's going to have the Batmobile, he's going to have all these different gadgets and all this stuff, because again, he's an experienced Batman, so he's going to have all these toys already. Like they're setting this sandbox of DC universe to be really cool and really intriguing. I'm getting very excited about it. I just hope that when July comes around and Comic-Con comes around and they come out and say, so for DC we have Justice League, and that's all we're announcing. And that would just be terrible. I hope they don't do that. I hope that they come out and say, hey, this is our slate, for the next 2 years. I don't think they're going to come out and say that we're doing all these films until 2019. They'll probably say we got Batman vs. Superman in 2016, Justice League in 2017. Maybe they'll announce Shazam. Sandman seems a little odd to me. I don't know if Sandman's going to come out at that point, and Shazam could be pushed a little bit later, like to August, to give it a little bit of breathing room. Because Batman vs. Superman could theoretically still be in theaters. Unless it comes out at the end of July. Like if they did Shazam at July 27th or something like that, then that would give Batman vs. Superman almost 3 months. And then it probably wouldn't be in theaters anymore. But this is looking more and more legitimate as the days go on. So when we get more information about this, which will likely be at Comic-Con, I'll definitely update you guys on here. But as it stands right now, I have a lot of faith that this is legitimate. Alright, well that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. You've been a great audience. Go ahead and click the subscribe button on the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever I post a new video. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. So without any further ado, this has been Niklsun. You guys have been a great audience. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.